Hello, everyone, and welcome into another episode of the Big Blue News Podcast. I'm your host, Chris Beesmore, and hopefully I can start doing more podcasts in the future. That's my goal. But let's get into we're going to be talking about mainly Ugonna Onyenso transferring, and then also the other recruits that Kentucky could potentially get after, Ugonna Onyenso transfers. So let's get right into the podcast. If you've been listening to the Sources Say podcast with Zach Pilgrim, it did not come as a surprise to many people that Ugonna Onyenso will hit the transfer portal, and he did. Obviously, the season ended about 2 weeks ago for UK, and at first, once the season ended, like a day or 2 days afterwards, I thought, yeah, Ugonna Onyenso is going to, stay with UK. There's no questions about that. Even though, like I said, he was only supposed to be a senior in high school this year. So he wasn't even supposed to be playing college basketball. And like I said, the intention with UK was he was going to redshirt this year and then play next year, actually be, their center. And sadly, that's not going to happen. Like I said, after the season ended, there were rumors that Ugonna Onyenso would transfer. And like I said, he finally did today. Here's what Jack Pilgrim said earlier. He said that Ugonna Onyenso people requested transfer portal papers last Thursday. UK tried to convince him and his team to stay, but that did not happen over the weekend. They finally decided to submit the transfer portal papers today. Obviously, that's from Jack Pilgrim, and it's sad to see him go. Obviously, he didn't play a lot. He only played 18 minutes in SEC play. He only had 2.5 points per game, 2.6 rebounds per game, and the last time he played was against Auburn, and that was on February 25th. He only had 3 minutes. It was a blowout game. It was great to see, him and the walk-ons to actually get some playing time. He didn't score at all during that game. Only had one steal. And I'm disappointed with Ugonna Onyenso transferring because Coach Cal, I think, was really excited to use him next year. He was talking about using both Aaron Bradshaw and Ugonna Onyenso together. He said, we may be able to play 2 7-footers at one time because they are both skilled. And that would have been great because you could have easily moved Aaron Bradshaw to the 4. Ugonna Onyenso at the 5. Ugonna Onyenso could have been the rim protector. Meanwhile, Aaron Bradshaw could have been able to space the floor out, been able to shoot threes, corner threes. That would have been very nice for UK to have because you think about it, you could have had Ugonna Onyenso down in the paint. Meanwhile, Aaron Bradshaw at the 3-point line to be able to shoot threes, and it would have been great for UK. Obviously, his team, his handlers for Ugonna Onyenso didn't see that. Apparently, Ugonna Onyenso made 6 figures this past year with NIL, which is insane to me. Like I said, he didn't get a lot of playing time, but to get 6 figures, man, that's a lot. I will probably never see that in my life. Well, I mean, like 6 figures in a year, I should say. Hopefully I do, and hopefully I'll make 6 figures eventually one day, but I don't think I'll see that in 1 year. Hopefully I'm wrong, though. But let's continue to talk about Ugonna Onyenso. So now let's talk about the replacements for him. Obviously, UK reached out to Hunter Dickinson today. A lot of people were shocked whenever Hunter Dickinson put his name in the transfer portal, and I think that could be a great addition. A lot of people are afraid of Hunter Dickinson because of how bad his defense is, along with his rim protection, which would have been great for, to have Ugonna Onyenso. I mean, this past year, Hunter Dickinson averaged 18.5 points, 9 rebounds, and 1.5 assists per game. So he definitely rebounded the ball. Obviously, he wasn't the best rim protector, on-ball defender, pick-and-roll defense. People are comparing him to like Oscar Tshiebwe because Oscar Tshiebwe, his pick-and-roll defense wasn't the best. But it would be a great add to have Hunter Dickinson. And obviously, UK fans might get upset because, like I said, just his defense wasn't the best. He's not a great rim protection. Aaron Bradshaw could eventually become a rim protector. Obviously, I don't think he's there just yet. And hopefully he will eventually towards the end of his freshman year because UK will definitely need a rim protector if they don't get Hunter Dickinson. I hope they do. Like I said, he did very well. 18.5 points per game, 9 rebounds, 1.5 assists. Another option a lot of people have been talking about is Khalil Ware. He was a player that transferred from Oregon. Obviously, he didn't have the best season this past year. He only averaged 6.5 points per game, 4 rebounds, and then a half of the assist per game. So not the best stats. Obviously, if you've been listening to Jack Pilgrim as well, Jack Pilgrim has been discussing that he's not fully into basketball. There's been talks about how he's just not talking about, basketball, playing basketball all the time. He's not fully into playing basketball, it feels like. And that might be a red flag for UK. Obviously, UK, they need to find a replacement for Aaron Bradshaw or not Aaron Bradshaw, but for Ugonna Onyenso, because you can't have Aaron Bradshaw and also Lance Ware as your 4 and 5, or Lance Ware as the backup 5, because that's not great depth at all. So it'll be interesting to see who will replace Ugonna Onyenso. But we can also talk about the other news. We can talk about Jacob Toppin. He announced that he's going to the NBA draft along with Casey Wallace, which does not come as a surprise. Obviously, there are rumors that Damian Collins may also hit the transfer portal. Obviously, he would be closer to home because of all the situation that has happened, especially this past year with his dad dying unexpectedly. So, a lot of rumors that Damian Collins will transfer back home. Jack Pilgrim has been reporting that. We can talk about also CJ Frederick. There was a lot of talk that he may retire after the season ended, but he's right now taking some time away from basketball and just, entertaining both decisions if he will decide to come back for another year or if he won't. Xavier Wheeler, obviously he's announced he's putting his name in the transfer portal. I wish him the best of luck. There's been no news about Adu Theodore, but expect him to come back. Antonio Reeves, he just recently put his name in the NBA draft while maintaining his college eligibility. So hopefully we will see him back in the blue and white. Obviously, he's 22 years old, so he's a little bit older. So obviously, it might be a little red flag for the NBA teams to take him, but if he's making 6 figures this year and no team promises him that he will get drafted and he'll just play in the NBA G League, and if he's making 6 figures right now at UK, why not return for another year? It would be a great idea for him to return, and I hope he does. Brendan Canada, obviously, he's announced that he's coming back. Casey Wallace, I already said, going to the NBA draft with Jacob Toppin. And then Chris Livingston, there's been a lot of talk from Jack Pilgrim of KSR. More than likely, he's not going to return to UK. The two options will be either the NBA draft with him staying in the NBA draft or transferring. Obviously, there has been no announcement for Chris Livingston just yet, and I hope he comes back to the blue and white next year. But with my prediction, I predicted that he would be leaving to the NBA draft because obviously he works with Clutch. His group, so Clutch obviously will have some say on what he will do, and I think, in my opinion, he will decide to stay in the NBA draft. Obviously, there has been no announcement just yet, but I think, like I said, Chris Livingston will probably stay in the NBA draft, and like I said, Jack Pilgrim has announced it's probably going to be the transfer portal or the NBA draft. So I wish him the best of luck during his process. And then the main topic was Ugonna Onyenso. Obviously, sad he's transferring, but let's get to the next player, and we're just going down through the whole list of the scholarship players. So now we have Oscar Tshiebwe. The whole situation has been that he will enter the NBA draft. Obviously, he has announced that he will, but according to Jack Pilgrim of KSR, many people believe that he will announce this week that he will test the NBA draft waters, and I wish him the best of luck. His also team has been also possibly talking about that he will hit the transfer portal, and obviously that would be the second time he would hit the transfer portal, but he wouldn't have to sit out a year because of his COVID-19 year, because he transferred from West Virginia to UK, and the only reason why there have been some talks about him transferring is due to NIL, NIL money. They believe his camp or his handlers or his team, however you want to say it, but his camp believes that he can make upwards to $2 million if he does decide to transfer. And with all the big names next year coming into UK with DJ Wagner, Aaron Bradshaw, Rob Dillingham, Reed Shepherd, all the big players coming in next year, that Oscar Tshiebwe will have less money to get deals, like deals won't be distributed to him directly. I mean, yeah, there weren't a lot of star power on the past couple of years. I mean, you had Sabir Wheeler, Ty Washington, but not a lot of star power. But with a lot of star power coming in this year, his team probably believes that the funds won't go directly to him, but it'll be evenly distributed around the team. I mean, to make six figures in a year is insane, and a lot of the roster made six figures this year. And then also we'll get to the last player with Lance Ware. I think he's going to stay. It'll be great to see Lance Ware and DJ Wagner playing together, because they obviously also played in high school together at Camden. But like I said, the main part of this podcast was to focus on Ugonna Onyenso transferring, and I wish him the best of luck. I wish Onyenso and his team the best of luck wherever he does decide to go. There's been a lot of rumors, circulation that he will go to a Big East team. We will see where he goes, though. There have also been talks about Georgetown University, not the one in Kentucky, obviously, but the Hoyas, Georgetown Hoyas, or you also got to think about St. John's. Rick Pitino just went to St. John's, so he could be after some UK, now transfers, or you could also look into high school recruiting. But we will see where Ugonna Onyenso will end up. Obviously, he could come back to UK. I doubt it. I believe his team just wants too much. His handlers want too much, and UK is saying just no to it. And a lot of people thought Ugonna Onyenso was going to be a project that he was going to be at UK for probably 2 or 3 years before he would announce, before he would go to the NBA draft or transfer. Obviously, that did not happen. I mean, like I said earlier in the podcast, Ugonna Onyenso was only supposed to be a senior in high school, so he wasn't supposed to get playing time at all this year, since he was only supposed to be a senior in high school. But obviously, he reclassified, became a freshman, and who knows where he ends up. He might go to Oklahoma. I know Oklahoma was one of his finalists for him before he announced he was coming to UK, and I feel bad for the kid. Like I said, Jack Pilgrim said in quote, Hugo doesn't know what Hugo is going to do before he announced, that he was transferring. And I'm sad about it. I thought he was going to be a great player this upcoming year, a great rim protector, what UK needs, because like I said, he's over 7 foot. UK really needed him, and it did not work out for both sides. I wish him the best of luck. I hope he'll find a great, happy home and, get a lot of playing time next year, along with a lot of money with NIL. But we'll see what happens. Obviously, I'll keep you all up to date with more news in the future. I'm going to start planning to do this podcast at least once a week. If I have more time, I'll try to aim for 2 or 3 times. But for now, let's try to aim for 1 time a week. And hopefully we'll hear some great news very soon in the future that Antonio Reeves may be coming back, or will land a big-time transfer. But like I said, I'll keep you all up to date. Make sure to follow me on social media, and I'll be back with another podcast soon. I hope y'all really enjoyed, and see y'all very soon.